Can you see me? Let's see.
Not yet.
Okay. Gotcha.
Perfect.
You disappeared the whole time. You're doing that on purpose, right?
No, no, I'm here. I'm because when my speaker is actually like what I'm talking through is my computer, and
Yeah.
my face is actually showing up on my phone.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
So
All right.
if you pull it up on a gallery
Yeah.
view, you'll see everything on it.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been talking to I've been talking to your picture the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is sometimes because I think I get better audio on my computer than
Yeah. Makes makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
but man, man, this is a great conversation to have, man, and it's great because we're gonna like we have students like in text players like group lessons, form group lessons, and you kind
Sorry, it's
of
cutting out. Sorry, what'd you say? You have paper with a what?
I'm saying we have like horn players, that would I'm sure would love for you to lead like a horn group like kind of thing. So we set up lessons, you know, with younger.
Yeah. Sorry to hear you. My bad.
Can you? Okay, okay. I was just checking my Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Um, so what I'm saying is, in a shed, we have horn players that I'm sure would value, having a horn group lesson with you, right? And so we can set that up, and I'll hook you up after to get into the Discord community.
Mm.
Because yeah, man, I think that'd be great for us to do. I feel like you'd be great for that.
Yeah, man, I'm open to talking, giving discussions, giving back, whatever I can help with or add. I'm open for it, man, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like because I remember you in terms of you have a way of really explaining some of those like complex harmonic ideas, you know.
Mm.
Because
Hmm.
I remember, on the piano, I think you have some videos out, right, with you kind of like
Yeah,
explaining your ear training process. Can
yeah. Some older ones, kind of like beginning harmony type things like that. Yeah,
mm,
of concept of color hearing and not necessarily hearing all the notes like specifically what's in a chord, but being able to just hear a sound, even if it's in different inversions or spread out on the piano, just having a what's the color of that? What color is that? And hearing it that way, that kind of vibe.
wow, and do you think that's like more of a useful way to look at it compared to like trying to pick up exactly, what's going on? Like, what do you think are the advantages of something like
Yeah, it's kind of like, have you seen some of those art pieces where they'll be like you're so zoomed in and it's like some random things like, and it looks like, I don't know, so like a million gifted faces, right? Like just like this, like, and then you can zoom out, and as you zoom out more, it's like a picture of a trumpet, you know? It's like, oh snap, they used Gifton's face and they made an artwork of his trumpet, you know? That's how you want to hear the harmony zoomed out, you know? And so you just know, okay, that's the vibe, and you don't even realize when like it's a natural 13 or flat 13. You're not hearing, oh, that's a one note difference. It's just a color change that you hear as opposed to like that one note difference.
and how long have you been working on this, and how do you teach people this concept? And
I learned it in the way of just how I heard things in general. I remember being in high school, and I remember hearing that the sound like from one major to six dominant, yeah, and that kind of that sound of the six dominant, you know, and I remember not really knowing exactly what was going on, but you just heard that shift, and that shift started to become familiar, you know, and that was me then just hearing the color change. was later you're like, okay, I know what that is theoretically. I know what notes are building it to make it that six dominant chord, or six flat nine. You know, but that's I think that's how humans kind of hear it when you don't know theory and people are playing by ear. Really feel that's how you begin to hear that stuff. And so why not teach it in that really natural way? I have two things when I teach. You want to be an absolute nerd, like you want to be like an annoying nerd, zooming in, like knowing every single detail of everything that's going on. Oh, you're a little bit sharp there, which actually make a little brighter. That gives a good sound if you're a little sharp there, as opposed to being right on it. Just random things, nerd. But then the other thing, just being natural, being soulful. That's what I call um, when a baby hears the color shift, or when a fan who's a music lover, they don't know what's going on, but they're like, oh, that part that you went like that and then you went like that, it was like, oh, I just loved it. So you were like, okay, they got some ears. They might not be able to explain it, but they can feel the shift. So that's, you want to be able to get out of the musician nerdy way of thinking and think like a child, think like a non-musician, and hear things naturally. And so that's going along the ways of color hearing it like colors. Like when you hear diminished, you'd be like, you ever remember like, what's this chord? And you'd be like, I don't know, it kind of sounds like a diminished type of vibe, it might be, it might not, but you kind of get that feeling that it's, oh, it kind of sounds diminished, or like kind of has like this whole tonish thing in there. I remember hearing I guess you would call it a dominant, an altered chord, right? Building that scale, and then they would play it. Be like, when I didn't know what the altered chord was, I'd be like, yeah, it kind of sounds whole tonish, because in the scale, you have like literally one, two, three whole tones in that scale, So that's the kind of thing, association and the colors of it. That's kind of where I'm coming from when it comes to the color hearing.
Mm, yeah, it seems to be
Mhm.
a more immediate way to so it's like by association you can associate things with something else, and that gives you a way to you know categorize it in your brain, kind of thing.
Yeah, just feeling the shifts, and having those shifts be very familiar and recognizable, even if you can't pinpoint what that is. I
Mm,
remember times in college when I didn't know, I'll be like, oh, I keep hearing this sound, and I know that sound. What is that? And then you go and you try to figure out, I keep hearing that. That means that you're aware. And that means you heard the color. You're like, I know that color, you know? Then you go in and you're like, trying to find that. That's not quite it. That's not quite it. But I know it when I hear it. That's it.
yeah.
And what it was for me then was a major sharp five, major seven sharp five.
Mm.
Whenever they would play that, they would like 2 5 and play one. They put that major sharp five in there. Early on, I was like, "Ooh, that's that color, but what is that?" You know.
Mm, mm. Yeah, man, it's beautiful to put it like that and to think about it that way. And
Yeah.
I remember you were doing something back in the day at Smalls, or I remember it was like a release where it was like a color project. What did you call it?
At Smalls,
Yeah, was it a color? Was it called a color project?
color hearing.
Yeah, did you have a band that was kind of like named around this kind of thing?
Oh, sound quartet.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
sound. Yes.
sound quartet.
Man,
Yeah.
you're doing some really beautiful projects. I remember the string project you did recently that you showed me. And then now you have
Yes.
a new project out, man. I kind of want to get a sense for it. Maybe you can take us back to your older projects and take us up to the new ones that you're doing now.
Yeah.
A lot of this
Man.
cool effect.
Yeah. Sound quartet is a project that kind of, I before I was talking about how I like to play free, but have it not necessarily be in a avant-garde way. but free meaning it can have structure 1 minute, it cannot have structure, it can be a full song that was made up on the spot. And that was the concept of sound quartet. A lot of those, a lot of places that we went while we were playing the music kind of abandoned the song completely, sometimes. And fortunate to have those guys with Kenneth Salters, who's extremely um, versatile rhythmically and groove wise. And at the time, Spencer Murphy, who knows so much music. This dude is just like a DJ. He could be like, he just so qualified in his musical knowledge. I call him up there. I need to know what this song is, and he'll be like, oh, that's this from that encyclopedia. And then Mike Battaglia on piano. This guy's ears, he could just hear anything. You break a glass, he'll know all the notes. And when you break a glass, it's not all in 12 notes. It's all type of microtonal notes and everything and overtones. He's the kind of guy that can map that out for you on the spot. His ears are so pristine. And so 12 having 12 notes in an octave ain't nothing for him. So he's playing piano. So I'll be like, he'd be like, like, yo, it's like that. It's like that. So that combination, sound quartet, that was kind of a dream project. I wrote some songs. We had some really nice shows with that, and I released "Lover of Nature" with that band.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, Lover of Nature. My name is Tivon, which is Hebrew, which means lover of nature. Yeah. So that was fun. I missed those days. And then the string project, um, having some crazy dreams, man, for a long time. Being on the road with Greg Reporter, I didn't know what's happening why I was having these dreams, but it was just some lush harmonies in my head. Thick, colorful, would remind me of kind of Nelson Riddle's way of writing, um, mixed with some like John Williams, movie-esque type of film scoring that you hear, mixed with some grooves that I like to write in. And it was weighing on me for a while because, you know, 2014 was Lover of Nature, and it wasn't until I released the second one in 2020. So that's how pressing it was for me to get that out. So I started writing, and I just tried to get it all out and not miss anything that was happening subconsciously. And you have some things that were there. You're like, man, I can't get it. It's too blurry to get out. But I was just trying. When I was in the shower, when you're in the shower, a lot of this stuff gets really clear. It's like, okay. So I would have the phone, put the phone in the shower, and then everything come up like, oh. All right, now I know. Now I'll go back to it. I know people do that all the time, but I'm sure. But it was just pressing on me. So I wrote that, wrote all the strings and gathered all the people. It was a fun project called Spirit Garden. Um, Coupled it with health decisions and stuff. Oh, that's probably why. That's probably why I changed my diet. And when I changed my diet, my brain just cleared up and everything, harmonies just started like being crystal clear and ideas were coming more often. And so that was a big reason why I kind of connected, you know, healthy eating and treating your body right, and connected that with this project, Spirit Garden. Um, but now I'm starting to get into some electronic stuff. I have like a pedal board, and I'm starting to expand into more. What's the word? You know how producers. I think. Oh, we didn't talk about this, but real ear training is when these producers, man, they think vertically. They know the harmonic series. They know how to be like it's the same note, but it's a different timbre. And why does it sound differently? It's because there's those overtones, and then some of these, some of these engineers have the ability to match that. It's like play this note, and somebody be like, "Oh, no, that ain't it. I just did. Oh, that ain't it. It's do that. It was like that's the note, because of the overtones. It's like sound like a trumpet, and then you sound like a saxophone playing the same note. There's a reason why that. So sound designing, it's a whole nother part of ear training that I think it's very important for all musicians to tap into the timbre. And but I was saying that because of my my quest to get into electronic stuff, all these pedals and delays and reverbs and octave pedals and looping and filters and all that comes into play. And then you're able to set up an atmosphere um, while you're performing, which is one of the reasons why we're like, man, why do those old recordings sound so good? You know, you have those same guys come and play today through this equipment, it ain't gonna feel the same. You know, it's because of the way it was recorded, the stuff that we already know, but we're just thinking about it in a different way. Like, okay, it's because of the way it was recorded. It's all about the overtones and all about the placement and situation. So that's what I'm getting into. And I released a new single. I've released two singles before building up to an album. This latest single is called "Let Our Hearts Decide," and I have a harmonizer where I can play, you know, one note, and I got all my chords there. I'm not limited to one note, and I kind of put the song together. I'm singing. I want to do that. That's in my heart to do. Have a lot of work to do with that. I'm gonna continue to grow as much as I can, but have to start somewhere. And so, and I have some things to say. So I'm singing a little bit on that. Sang in the first one, "Tell Me Again," and so yeah, that's the latest thing. Let our hearts decide.
Oh man, that sounds beautiful, and I love like I think it's killing to hear people like you, people with that higher level of, you know, you know, listening ability to take those like devices to think about them and know exactly what's going on musically, and then utilize that tool that way. You know what I'm talking about? It's like I feel like we as musicians that are heavily inspired by acoustic music, sometimes we never get a chance to really get deep that side of the technology,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that acoustic musicians don't think like that because electronic music is emulating acoustic sounds. It's just, so you can get there. But yeah, I hear what you mean. Like a lot of people who spent the amount of time playing the music that we play don't always go to that other side of the of electronic music and effects and all that. But that's in my heart, and I'm going for it, man.
Yeah, I mean, Roy and his Distractions album and the RH
Yeah,
Fact stuff, was a good example of that. But even what you're doing now, where you're using these harmonizers, because they're specific harmony too, like,
yeah,
and I'm sure you, as someone having that listening ability, can hear what's being played and intentionally using those
right,
things in certain ways. You know what I'm saying? Compared to someone that's using them because of the color, you're using
right,
them thinking about, oh, I can actually, go from here to here, go from here to here, and
yeah,
create some level of musical like uh, cohesiveness and with
yeah.
that. And so I think it's beautiful.
Making it functional, making it intentional and functional harmony with the harmonizers. Yep.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to hear it, man. And when is the whole thing out? full album?
We're looking at January to release the album, but we're gonna release an EP in October. So
Oh,
got
man.
one more single to come out before the EP release in October.
Oh
Yeah.
man, bro, that sounds crazy, bro. Please send that my way. We'll funnel it in the shed, man, so people know it's out.
Yeah.
Um, and, thank you, bro. Hey, bro. We gotta finish this conversation because we're
Oh yeah.
getting, because we're just getting our feet wet, with this
Yeah. Yeah.
about, man. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a lot out there. It's a lot to talk about, but I really enjoyed it. I love what you're doing. I'm following as much as I can, and when you started doing this, I'm like, okay, yeah, gifting's up to something, and it's gonna be big. And I was really honored that you thought about me and to come and talk about my process and everything. So yeah.
absolutely, bro. Man, let's do it, bro. I'm honored that you're here as well. This is a community. We're all, together,
Mm,
all talking about it, and this is how we find solutions. This is how we get,
mm,
to better things, man. So, uh,
yeah.
uh, man, I'll be in touch with you so we can get that group lessons stuff happening, man. Because I know Cat gonna want, you know,
Let's
um,
do it. I'm
yeah,
in
it'll be
it.
cool to even approach that color, the concept,
Yeah.
like if you were to teach that concept, how, like, what's that? Is it like a weak kind of thing? One can kind of like understand it or grasp it, or is it like a one-time lesson thing that someone can understand it? Like, what's the timing on something like that?
With that, it's kind of like it's the long game. But you wanna give them a lot of information that they might not be able to apply with the hearing it or doing, but they just have to understand first. Understanding is first, so that kind of takes some time. Um, it was like something that you I would have to sit with them for an extended amount of time, or you know maybe give them all the information in one setting, and then they can just watch it over and over again or something like that and get it that
Mm,
way.
yeah, yeah. But you would say like an hour, per week or something of reinforcing the
Yeah.
information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know, man. So let's definitely keep in touch about that, and have a great show, man, with Gregory, right? Gregory Porter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, man.
Hmm.
That's gonna be fun. All the best of luck, and I'll see you next time in town, bro.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man.
bro.
Let's
Same here,
go.
man. Look out for it, and we're gonna be,
Yeah.
you know
Hit
the
me up.
yes.
Yeah. You about to come back to New York soon? You staying out there for a while?
Yeah, I'm here until my visa situation is all solidified. It should be like all good in a week or so. So probably in July sometime.
Okay. Work. Sounds good. Sounds
Yeah,
good.
man. All right,
Yeah.
bro. Thank
All
you
right,
once
man.
again, man. We appreciate you. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talk soon.
All right, bro.
All right. Peace.